here at the flagship branch of National Bookstore in Glorieta 1, as we celebrate the launch of Educating Women Leaders. Special thanks to all of you who are here today, and most of you are familiar faces. Yes. Now, to formally open our event for today, I would like to welcome here on stage the General Manager of Anvil Publishing, who is Andrea Pasion Flores.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and to my dear Assumption community. Good afternoon, Sister Carla, my class advisor. Full disclosure, Assumption High School class 80. I was looking for her classmate. I'm so happy you're here, Maita. Welcome to the launch of this most important book, Educating Women Leaders, Transformation in Women's Colleges by Dr. Carmen Pinky Valdes. Educating girls and young women in an environment best suited for girls and young women, or without the company of boys and young men, boys, is an unexplored subject in our country. Men and women are different in many aspects, and the approach to their education must take into account such distinctions to be able to create an environment for learning that empowers and nurtures the individual, especially the girl child. Studying an Assumption from prep to high school, I didn't actually realize how lucky I was to have benefited from an education that was tailor-fitted for girls. All I know that a large part of who I am, of what I have achieved in both my professional and personal life, is because I studied in an all-girls school, and in Assumption in particular. When I graduated from high school, I knew I was a unique individual, capable of achieving my dreams. I can't explain why I'm wired this way, or why there are many other women I know who came from all-girls schools who are similarly built, but Pinky certainly can. And she does so in this book that I highly recommend to educators and parents of the girl child. So I will turn over the floor to her and to our very capable MC. But before I do, I'd just like to say that we at Anvil are extremely proud to have this book in our list. We feel it is an important title in the field of education and will contribute much to the empowerment of Filipino women and the development of the Filipino nation. We thank Pinky for the trust she has given Anvil, while congratulating her for finally coming to this day. And I thank all of you for being part of this afternoon's celebration. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for that, Attorney Andrea. And now it is our pleasure to introduce to you our author. Our author is the first slave president of Assumption College, San Lorenzo. She has an extensive background in spirituality, education, corporate executive, and family counseling, facilitation of transformational leadership training programs. She was the former dean of Assumption College, Marie Eugenie School of Innovative Learning, creative director of Marie Eugenie Theater of the Assumption, META, an adjunct professor at Loyola School of Theology, LST, Ateneo, and a theology professor at the Ateneo de Manila University. She holds 2 master's degrees, one in educational management from De La Salle University, Manila, and another in theology from the University of San Francisco. She completed her doctorate in philosophy from GTU-UC Berkeley, California. She is the first awardee of the Bravo Empowered Women for Education in recognition of her unwavering commitment to leadership and service. She was also awarded the Speaker of the Year Award by Makati Rotary. She was one of the first to receive the International Marie Eugenie Award at the Sala Nervi in the Vatican, Rome. She was also awarded a professorial chair by Loyola School of Theology, Ateneo de Manila University. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Carmen Pinky Valdes.
Hello, thank you for joining us here, and there are parts of the book that I'm going to read. Hold on. Okay. First of all, I want to congratulate St. Scholastica and MIriam and Assumption, because Sister Mary Frances Dishon, where are you? There she is. And MIriam, where are you? There they are. And you have done a wonderful, wonderful job, and thank you to the Sisters of Assumption. And many of your graduates are actually here. So I want to congratulate you on the wonderful work you have done year after year after year. I don't know if you know this, but Assumption came to the Philippines in 1896. So we've been here a long time. Huh? 1892. Enjoy in whatever that Laling wrote was 1896. So Joy, Laling, where are you? Hi Laling, change the date. Anyway. All right. So this book, just so you know, I started it in 2006. Oof. 2018. I almost got buried before this thing. Anyway, what happened was I finished the book in 2014, and I showed it to Karina Bolasco, who was then Assistant General Manager of Anthem. And she said, this is a wonderful book, but would you please write a book that... yeah. The censor. Okay, I thought it was me. Then I can come back. Okay, so anyhow, it was a book about meaning. And she said, can you write a book that evaluates whether Assumption really graduated women leaders? Because that's the goal of the school. I said, you know, this is very embarrassing. I'm not going to write a book just about Assumption girls. Who cares except us, right? So I said, I have to put in people that I greatly admire, which is MIriam and St. School. And the reason why I greatly admire them, because we are the last 3 schools that are female from kinder to college. We're the last 3, so give them a round of applause. The others have given it up. They've either given up the college, the high school, the grade school, or they've gone co-ed. But we are the only 3 left that are doing this. And there's a reason why we're doing it. So then I said, okay, in that case, I expanded the book, and now it's called Educating Women Leaders. It's no longer about meaning, although it's here somewhere. You'll find parts of the book here. So when I started this book, I thought, well, you know, maybe I should go with an open mind. Maybe we should be co-ed. But the first thing Tata Liquanan told me, by the way, she wanted to come, but for very obvious reasons, everybody knows what's happening with Ched right now. God bless her. I really love her. So she is at the Ched right now, doing all kinds of things that I'm not going to say anything political. So anyway, but I really, really admire her. And she said, Pinky, don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. We tried it, and we went back to being all girls. It was a huge mistake. And Alice Reyes, who's here, our national artist. Can you please stand, Alice, our national artist? She went to Maryknoll, like my cousins over here who went to Maryknoll, and she said the same thing to me. Maryknoll, Assumption, and St. School should not give up being all-girls school. But just the same, I went in with an open mind. So I interviewed 355 with a lot of help from people who are here right now, like Baby Herrera back there. You helped me out a lot. And we interviewed 355 girls. And they all said the same thing, except for 2. Out of 355. Everybody said, please keep it an all-girls school. 2 of them said, well, maybe you should bring in the boys. Just to show you that I didn't fix the numbers, okay? All right, so, now, what is in this book? Basically, I did a history of how women grew in education. And this is one of the problems that we have. Christianity, the Muslims, and the Jews, we have a very big problem. You know what it is? Sex. We have a very big problem with sex. And so we wanted to blame somebody about what happened, that sex is a good or a bad thing, and they decided that Eve, the first woman, is guilty of original sin because she tempted Adam to have sex when they were not supposed to. And that's where all of this started. According to the Jews, Muslims, and Christians. And it made a mess. And then, of course, St. Augustine came along and underlined it some more, that the problem was sex. It's such a, I don't get this to this day. Did you invent sex? I didn't. It's a fabulous idea, but it wasn't our idea, right? Okay, whose idea was it? It was God's idea, so I have no idea why they made it such a big issue. All right, so because of this, women became, because we're so attractive. I know there are lots of men here, right, Joseph? Women are so attractive. All right, so women are so attractive that what happened was women had to wear veils, and to this day they have burqas and things like that, and for a long time women had to wear veils. Okay, so that became a big issue, and women were slower and not as intelligent. St. Thomas Aquinas said, I am not sure if women have a human soul. St. Thomas Aquinas. I don't know if they have a human soul. Can you imagine? Yes, look it up. It's in the Summa. All right, so now, what happened? Why are there girls' schools in the first place? You know why? Because the boys didn't want us. Where's Sonji? There's Sonji. Sonji, Triana, where are you? Can you raise your hand? Where are you? Sonji, I know you're here. Okay. Sonji was part of the group that we sent to Ateneo because we were testing whether we should go co-ed or whether we should have cross-enrollment. So Sonji and two other Assumption girls went to Ateneo, and the priest pulled them out and said, you know, girls, I don't know if you can keep up with this class. So do what you can. Where's Sonji? She can quote it word for word. She left? Okay. She said, and then she said, he said to them, do what you can, but if you can't make it, we understand. Guess what happened? They topped the class. Of course they did. Is that all the applause they get? Okay. Not only did, it was a class in economics, by the way. It was in economics, not literature. And not only that, all the boys were copying their notes. So they, okay, so what has happened is, even in the seven, we call them the seven sisters. All the seven Ivy League schools had a female college, but it was on a separate campus. And then finally, they joined them. And guess what they did now? Now the girls are saying, we want our school back. You boys go away. We want our own school back. And if you don't believe me about having an all-female college and school, listen to Meryl Streep. She gave the commencement speech at Barnard University, and she told them, you did the right thing. So if you don't believe me, listen to her. All right? She has more credibility. All right, so what I found out is that, and I did a lot of study, the biological, neurological, and generational study of women in education. What did I find out? And you all know this. Where's Eric? Eric just, there you are, Eric. He's from Inquirer, and he agrees with me. What we discovered was women, by the age of 10, start accelerating their growth. By the time you're 18, you're 3 or 4 years more mature than men. And this is done on purpose by nature, because nature thinks you're going to have a baby, so they make you hurry up and get mature. It's the prefrontal cortex of the brain that matures very, very quickly in women. Today, it is about the age of 21. Women at 21. Guess where men were as of 2 years ago? 24. The prefrontal cortex of the brain is that part of the brain, here, those of you who are doctors, and that's your executive, your, what you call your CEO of your brain, and it tells you what to do and how to manage and blah, blah, blah. That's what makes us totally human. Animals do not have that prefrontal cortex that human beings have. And because of this, and because we accelerate, women, that part of the brain of women used to mature at 21 and men at 24. As of 2 years ago, because I just read a new study, because I've been following this, the neurological development of human beings, guess where the numbers are now? Just take a guess. When do women mature? The prefrontal cortex of the brain. 24. And men, guess? 30. I'm not a feminist. I love men. I think you're gorgeous, okay? I think you're absolutely, look at him, yes. No, you're gorgeous. The thing is, you mature much slower, right? If I have a girl who's 20 and I have a son who's 20, typically, not always, because there are some, where's JV? You're probably very mature. She needs sons. She must be very, very mature. But anyway, typically, if I'm going to make a choice and I'm going to take all the money of the house and I'm going on vacation, Marilise, you're here, hi. Who will I give the money to? I'll give it to my daughter. You know why? It's proven. Do you know microbanking? Who's in microbanking here? The rate of return when they lend to women, this is in the provinces, okay, when they're in the provinces, this is the statistic, 98% of women paid back the debt. 98%. So when they're going to lend, they lend it to the women. I did not make this up. The bankers told me this, okay? Guess what the percentage is of men? Anywhere between 28 and 45. I don't know what the boys do with the money. All I know is they don't pay it back. Who knows? Okay. Because our prefrontal cortex matures much faster. That's all there is to it. Okay, now, this book I have dedicated, and I will read this. I've dedicated this book to the following people. I dedicate this book to my two ates. I have two of them. My sister Jerry and my cousin Abby. Abby is here, and Jerry had to leave because her grandson is having surgery, so she had to fly back in an emergency. So, Geraldine Valdes Padilla, my older sister, has dedicated her life to the quality of life of cancer patients. Abit Nieto Legarda is not just a cousin, but also a sister and a friend. They gave me strength. I hope I can get through this. Okay. They gave me the strength for being myself without being judged. They have been leaders all their lives. But now I can't see. Giving the light and showing the path to others. I have tremendous admiration and love. Because, wait, I haven't finished. Because they always give without counting the cost and without asking for reward. Jerry and Abby, this is for you. When I tell you my story, you'll understand why that's important. Okay, acknowledgements. Okay, I would like to, I can't see anything. Okay. I would like to give heartfelt thanks to those who helped me pull these interviews together. Baby Herrera, Marilen Diwag Reambilio, who I hope is here, Ming Rojas, Nini Diaz, Papsin Moran Sevilla. Terence Buencamino, and my sister Carolyn, who did endless pages of transcription for the book. Thank you to Margo Heredia, Teresa Biel, these are all in Spain, and they all give heartfelt thanks to Conchitina, who made them into a wonderful group. Celia Teves, Flossie Infante, for bringing together the interviews from Spain. To the Assumption Sisters, to Sister Josefina Magat, to Sister Gertrude Borges for allowing me to use their conference rooms, and for the interviews that I conducted there. Thank you to Monique Lagarda, I hope she's here, and Jerry Valdes Padilla, who did the initial editing, and for taking the time to run through it many, many times. My sister edited it 10 times. And I have to give an apology, and will ask me to do this. There are a couple of errata in the book, which will be corrected in the second printing if the first printing is sold out. Okay. There are several mistakes. Okay. In spite of the fact that it was edited at least 20 times. All right. It made me feel, where am I? it made me feel very secure to know that you were editing the book. Actually, the first version of this book was finally transmuted into educating women leaders, and my gratitude goes to Jacqueline Lang, who did the wonderful editing of the first book, Jacqueline Lang. Special thanks to Ana Valdes Slim, who told me I should break the silence and speak of my own abusive childhood, not only for my own inner freedom, but also to give light to others to embrace their past and let them know that they are not alone. More importantly, I thank her for being honest, telling me the truth as she sees it and gets it when I delve into things like non-duality of nature. And finally, thank you to the interviewees from MIriam College, St. Scholastica, and Assumption. I wish I could tell all their stories, but of course I could not, because they showed their great vulnerability and depth in the exploration of their education and how they were empowered in their school. May the millennials be inspired and take it to the next level. To all and each, deepest thanks. Okay, so now I'm just going to do two things. I told you this would be short, so it's going to be short. So here we go. First of all, I want you to walk away, I hope, with three things. First is an expanded sense of leadership. And I'd like to read what's behind this. The problem is with women. Can you hold this 1 second? I'm going to read this. You hold it, and I'll stand here. I have a lecture. My podium. Okay. The problem is women do not use the word power. I did 355 interviews in people like Annie Silva Garcia, Tessie Coson, Marixie Rufino, Prieto. None of them use the word power, which is very interesting. They talk about empowering others, but they never use the word power. I want to say something to all of you, and I asked Assumption girls to be here from high school and college. Where are you? There they are. Raise your hand. Yes. If you have these, you have power. Here they are. If your decisions affect other people, that gives you power. If people want your approval, that gives you power. If you understand things better than others, that gives you power. And I want to say this. What makes a leader is not the person with a solution. That's not the leader. The leader is the one who understands the problem. For example, you might say, what's the problem in the Philippines? Poverty. Therefore, let's give all the poor money. What have we discovered over time? People who are not well off get into power, and what happens? They become, very often, what happens to them? They become corrupted by power. Some don't, but many do. So it's